Take a moment to turn and greet one another.
Morning and welcome to our gathering today. My name is Ivan and I'm your worship associate this morning. As we come together in this sacred space, we do so with open hearts and eager spirits, ready to experience the gift of presence. In a world filled with distractions and noise, worship offers us a unique opportunity to pause and center ourselves, allowing us to be fully present. This presence is not merely about being physically here, but also about engaging in our hearts and minds, opening ourselves up to the spiritual connections we share with the divine and with the divine within each one of us. At the Winchester Unitarian Society, we open our doors and hearts to everyone, the joyous, the heartbroken, atheist, all religious faiths and traditions, all sexual orientations, anyone seeking deeper meaning, service, and love. Your unique presence enriches our community, and we hope our time together today is filled with abundant blessings. A special welcome is extended to those joining us for the first time at the Winchester Unitarian Society. We invite you to complete the visitor card found in the pew rack in front of you and place it in the offering plate. This will help us stay connected beyond today's service. After worship, we warmly invite you to join us for coffee and conversation in the Sims room back there. This is a fantastic opportunity to connect and deepen our sense of community. Now let us open our hearts and minds to the spirit of worship.
Traditionally, Advent is a time of searching for light in the dark. The pagan tradition of Yule is a celebration of the return of the sun. But darkness is as important as light. The cold dark of winter is as important to life as the bright warmth of summer. Darkness is home to entire ecosystems, places where humans cannot survive. Darkness offers us the gift of rest, healing, and hope. It is in the darkness of sleep that our bodies are able to heal and rejuvenate. Darkness offers opportunities for beauty and love to live in our lives. Conception begins in the dark womb. A great prophet was born at night, and the vastness of the universe can only be seen on the darkest of nights. So on this morning after the longest of nights, let us welcome the night. Let us give thanks for the life, rest, healing, hope, love, and beauty that are offered to us only in the darkness. Come, beautiful souls, and let us worship as we embrace the darkness together.
I now invite Abby McVeigh to light our chalice. May we light this chalice this morning to remind us of the power and beauty of balance and contrast. It is darkness that can make the flame of a single candle so powerful and light that deepens those shadows in turn. A chalice flame is the meeting point, the union of the refuge, safety, and incredible beauty of darkness, and the warmth, the assurance, and the joy of light. May this act of lighting our chalice this morning remind us that we are stronger together in all the complexities and the disagreements of relationships because we are different and because we are one. Please rise in body or in spirit to join us in singing opening hymn number 235, Deck the Hall with Boughs of Holly.
I invite those who are young and young at heart to come forward for a story. Good morning, everybody. Some of us look a little sleepy this morning. Were you making merry last night on the solstice? You were here making merry? Excellent. I was too. It was very merry. So I want to ask you to raise your hand if you're afraid of the dark or if you've ever been afraid of the dark. Raise your hand. Look at all those people. Lots of us have been afraid of the dark, huh? A lot of times when we're young and even when we're older, we fear darkness because it's sort of a place of not knowing, right? So I'm going to tell you a story now about a clever fox and how he stole the darkness away. Long ago, all people thought darkness was something to be afraid of. They loved the light and celebrated its return each spring, singing songs and dancing. But they didn't think much about darkness, except to fear it. They believed darkness was something to push away and invented ways to keep it from coming. Fox was used to the in-between spaces, like dawn and dusk, that the people feared. Fox and the other animals who lived at the edges of the forest noticed that the darkness was getting weaker. Fox knew that darkness had been around a long time and could heal, but that it needed help. So, Fox, being ever so clever, came up with a very clever, very sneaky plan. One day, at noon, when the light was brightest and darkness was small as a pin, Fox tiptoed quietly on his pink paws. He sneaked up, sneak, 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 and stole the darkness. Fox ran to his den and tucked the darkness away, where it filled up the space so completely that even Fox couldn't see. Fox began to care for the darkness, singing songs and telling stories to make it feel loved. Meanwhile, people didn't notice that the darkness was gone. They celebrated the endless sunlight, thinking they had defeated darkness. But soon, they started to feel weak. The plants and animals around them were tired too. They realized then that they needed darkness, just like they needed the light. They had made a big mistake. After 12 days of bright, bright light, the darkness returned. Thank goodness. Seeing that darkness was beginning to heal, Fox had released it in hopes that the people had learned better. And they had. The people rejoiced. They told stories of its beauty and its gifts. They loved it. And as they loved it, the darkness healed. The balance returned. And Fox continued his clever ways. But something had changed. Fox was still Fox. But maybe as a reminder or as a gift from the darkness, Fox's paws had turned black. And so Fox carries this story of the importance of both light and darkness with him wherever he goes. And now, so can you. I invite you to sing the children and teachers to religious education. The words are in your order of service.
Please join me in prayer or meditation, as is your practice, as we reflect on these words adapted from Jan Richardson. Go slow if you can. Slower. More slowly still. Friendly, dark, or fearsome, this is no place to break your neck by rushing, by running, by crashing into what you cannot see. Then again, it is true. Different darks have different tasks. And if you have arrived here unawares, if you have come here in peril or in pain, this might be no place you should dawdle. I do not know what these shadows ask of you, what they might hold that means you good or ill. It is not for me to reckon whether you should linger or you should leave. But this is what I can ask for you, that in the darkness there be a blessing, that in the shadows there be a welcome, that in the night you be encompassed by the love that knows your name. We move now into the time where we light candles in recognition of the joys and sorrows in our hearts. If you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand and Ivan will bring a candle to your pew. After we kindle the light and share a time of silence together, we will sing hymn number 55, Dark of Winter. Let us now kindle the light.
This reading is from Jackie James, Dark and Light, Light and Dark. Blackmail, blacklist, black mark, black Monday, black mood, black-hearted, black plague, black mass, black market. Good guys wear white, bad guys wear black. We fear black cats and the dark continent, but it's okay to tell a white lie. Lily white hands are coveted. It's great to be pure as the driven snow. Angels and brides wear white. Devil's food cake is chocolate. Angel's food cake is white. We shape language and we are shaped by it. In our culture, which is esteemed, in our culture, white is esteemed. It is heavenly, sun-like, clean, pure, immaculate, innocent, and beautiful. At the same time, black is evil, wicked, gloomy, depressing, angry, sullen. Ascribing negative and positive values to black and white enhances the institution of this culture's racism. Let us acknowledge the negative connotations of whiteness for a moment. White things can be soft, vulnerable, pallid, and ashen. Light can be blinding, bleaching, innovating. Conversely, we must acknowledge that darkness has a redemptive character, that in darkness there is power and beauty. The dark nurtured and protected us before our birth. Welcome darkness. Don't be afraid of it or deny it. Darkness brings relief from the blinding sun, from scorching heat, from exhausting labor. Night signals permission to rest, to be with our loved ones, to conceive new life, to search our hearts, to remember our dreams. The dark of winter is a time of hibernation. Seeds grow in the dark, fertile earth. Seeds grow in the dark, fertile earth. The words black and dark don't need to be destroyed or ignored, only balanced and reclaimed in their wholeness. The words white and light don't need to be destroyed or ignored either, only balanced and reclaimed in their wholeness. Imagine a world that has only light or dark. We need both, dark and light, light and dark.
We have a tendency in our culture to glorify the light and pathologize the dark. White represents purity, dark is evil. There are some natural reasons this is the case. Horror movies set during the day probably wouldn't function quite as well as those set at night. And as those with young children are reminded, not knowing what's in the dark, even in your own room, can certainly sometimes feel scary. Unfortunately, the concept of darkness as scary is not often balanced in our psyches and our spirits with the joy and beauty of the starlit night sky. And this imbalance persists in so many other areas. What comes to mind if I ask you to think about light? Perhaps it's sunlight that provides energy to plants, maybe the light bulbs that help us see, or perhaps in this holiday season, it's the twinkling lights that decorate Christmas trees and houses that bring many people joy. The associations, I'm guessing, tend to be positive. The thing is that light isn't always good for us. If you're trying to go to sleep, light is not usually helpful, especially if it's bright and glaring. The color white is often associated with light, but you wouldn't want white furniture and white rugs in your house, not if you have children anyway. Staring directly at the sun can cause you to go blind very quickly. Too much exposure to sunlight leaves many folks with painful sunburns, especially if they don't wear sunscreen. And if you live in desert country or even just near the equator, you never forget, as we sometimes do in northern climes, often that light is a form of heat. Too much light, too much heat can cause death and dehydration. We hear so many stories about white knights coming to save the day, even if they're not called white knights. Sometimes they are, but sometimes that's just the imagery, right? And the triumph of good over evil is couched in the terminology of the triumph of light over darkness. And so we just tend to associate light with good and dark with bad. That is awfully convenient in a country where white people enslaved people of color and where systemic racism continues to run amok. If you think the narrative in our country isn't powerful, take a look at the study done with toddlers, offering them a choice of baby dolls to play with. The folks running the experiment offered little ones, 2-year-olds, the option of playing either with a white doll or a black doll. The vast majority of the white kids chose the white doll. The vast majority of the black kids also chose the white doll. At the age of 2, because they already know which color is better. The cultural stories we tell and live and breathe, they are powerful. What would it look like to shift the narrative and embrace the many blessings of darkness? The Black Knight as the hero fighting for good, while the evil White Knight plots to destroy the kingdom. If you grew up in American culture, that setting of the Black Knight as hero might feel a little off to you because of what we've learned here. The stories we tell matter. Stories are not just stories. They impact how we understand the world and how we choose to value or not value darkness. A real wood fire is my favorite part of camping. I like being outdoors. I like being away from the busyness of daily life. I enjoy the quality time with people I like. But it's the fire that is my favorite part of camping. The crackle of the wood, the smell of the smoke, the dancing flames. You can get some of that in a fireplace in your house, of course, if you have one. But for me, there's something about being out under the stars, watching the flames. Time slows down. Conversation might pick up, or it might fall into silence. As the fire progresses, embers start to glow down near the bottom. Sitting around a campfire at night is truly magical. And a huge part of that magic is the dark of night. I know some folks who camp make fires during the day. It doesn't make sense to me, but they do it. Maybe you're one of them, no judgment. And I'm glad that brings them and you joy. But daytime fires just don't hold the same magic for me. There's something about the darkness of night, the contrast, that makes the experience special. The flames don't flicker in quite the same way when bathed in sunlight. It's the darkness that brings the magic. Can you think of a time, or perhaps some times, where darkness has brought magic into your life? Things grow in the dark. That could be the opening line of a horror story, but it's true of the majority of life. Plants, seeds, grow into plants, start underground in the dark before stretching out towards the light. Animals, whether they gestate in eggs or in a parent's body, they grow in the dark. That includes us, human beings. We grow in the womb, bathed in the darkness, for the first 9 months of our lives. Life, the first place of nourishment, of our earliest growing and being, so often starts in darkness. When our existence is at its most tender, fragile places, we are held in comfort, in safety, in the dark. The end of life is often associated with darkness as well. Death and darkness so often go hand in hand. When we personify death in books and movies, we rarely see death wearing white. The Grim Reaper comes with its scythe dressed in black. Why do we fear death so much, though? That could be its whole other sermon, or a sermon series even, but I'll say briefly, in part because it's unknown, in part because of our ego clinging to living. The most commonly depicted visual of dying in media is going into the light. What if instead we imagined death as a return to a beautiful place of darkness, the night sky at its best, a place where we feel awe at the vastness of the universe, a place where we feel at one with everything, a place where we are held in infinite love, a place where our spirits are healed. When people celebrate the winter solstice, the darkest night of the year, which we had just last night, we tend to talk about the return of the light. What would it look like if instead of just celebrating the return of the light, we also honored all of the gifts that darkness brings us? There is much truth in the story of Fox stealing the darkness. We have stolen so much of the darkness in our lives with our electricity and our lights. It used to be that winter darkness brought a time of slowing down, of greater rest and relaxation. In our incredibly busy culture now, we power through all year round. What would life look like if we were still wed to the natural rhythms of nature and we had to slow down in the wintertime? What if at winter solstice we not only honored the gifts of the dark, but we also made it a time to intentionally embrace the healing and slowing down so often associated with darkness? Now, of course, darkness is not all good. As we heard in our meditation this morning, there are some different kinds of darkness, and some of them are painful and difficult indeed. The point, though, is that it is worth considering, especially in our country where racism runs rampant, why it is that we make darkness evil and turn away from its gifts of rest, renewal, and restoration. Why is it that we glorify the light, making it pure and good, and valuing the increased activity and productivity it allows to our own detriment? No one is knocking light here. I am certainly not advocating the opposite extreme of living in darkness all the time. I do hope we can find a better balance of our understanding and experience of dark and light, though. I hope we can embrace light and dark for their good qualities both and appreciate the gifts they bring to the world and our lives. This holiday season, may we let go of our preconceptions, such as the inherent badness of dark and the inherent goodness of light, and instead embrace darkness and lightness with all of their good and all of their bad, just as we embrace every person who walks through our doors and love them for who they are, their strengths and their imperfections alike. Let us seek the places where dark and light work together and complement each other to bring renewal, healing, and hope into our world. For we need all the hope we can get. And that hope comes not just from light, not just from darkness, but from dark and light together. The time for false dichotomies has come to an end. The time for false preconceptions, false narratives is over. There has to be a path forward that brings us all together at some point in time, some way, somehow. There is never any room for hate, violence, or harm of any kind. And it may not be clear to us in this moment, but if we can keep an open mind and avoid making one thing, one perspective, one person bad or wrong by definition, if we can let go of preconceptions and be open to is and what might be, it's possible that we could find our way to a future where what has been perceived as opposites instead come together to complement and even enhance one another and ultimately create a better world. For the stories we tell about who we are as individuals and as a country are powerful. They shape our sense of who we are and what is true. The world is not black and white. It is full of shades of gray and nuance. It is easy and comforting to make us good and them bad on both sides of the equation. It is easy to follow our cultural norms and make this practice of doing this is spiritually a bad practice as well, as the dark has just as much to offer us as the light. And our spiritual lives are poorer for missing out on half the goodness in the world. It's also bad practice in terms of racism. I yearn for the day where children of all races equally choose to play with black and white dolls. We celebrated the solstice last night, the darkest day of the year. It's so easy to focus on the return of the light. This morning, may we embrace the darkness. Amen.
Welcome to our church, where our mission is to inspire everyone to become more generous in spirit and action. Through our annual pledges, we are able to fund our vital programs, support our passionate staff and leaders, and preserve our beautiful building. Passing the plate during worship allows us to express our deep gratitude for our many blessings and celebrate the abundance in our lives. It's a treasured part of our weekly gathering. Today, our Share the Plate offering is dedicated to Bridge Over Troubled Waters, an organization which provides effective and innovative services to runaway, homeless, and high-risk youth, help youth avoid a lifetime of dependency on social services, guides youth towards self-sufficiency, and enables youth to transform their lives and build fulfilling, meaningful futures. Please refer to your order of service for various ways to give. If you're visiting us for the first time, whether in person or online, you are our honored guest. For those attending in person, you will find a visitor card in the pew racks before you. We invite you to complete and place it in the collection plate. Thank you for your generous contributions. The offering will now be distributed and gratefully received. Those who wish to do so are invited to join in the unison affirmation in the order of service. We gather not for ourselves, but to use our common power to build a beloved community within and beyond these walls. We create and reaffirm this covenant this day to make justice flourish, to practice compassion amidst difference, and to embody transformative love. Please rise in body or in spirit to sing hymn number 244.
My friends, may today and the rest of the holiday season bring you darkness, the gifts of darkness, the blessed stillness, the quiet, the peace, the healing, the nurturing. May we feel that peace and stillness and nurturing throughout our lives and our spirits as we spend time with those we love. Go and be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.